But at the end of the day, I think when you see our finished product and they see it rolling out the door in the hearse to go and get delivered, everybody has the same feeling of pride and the same feeling that we've done something good to a family in a really tough time. My name is Ross Hall and I have a signage and design company which on the side I make custom caskets. How I got into it was when I did my will and I had to talk about whether I wanted to get cremated or buried, and to me that got me thinking about how I actually wanted to go, and at that point I went, there's got to be other people out there that want something a little different, and there's a ton of people out there that don't want a brown box anymore. So the whole funeral industry has changed so radically in the last probably 5 to 8 years. The biggest shock to all of us is when our first 10 caskets arrived in the doorway of the shop. I mean, we all stood around sort of pretty numb about it because, I mean, we're not funeral directors and we've never been exposed to that sort of thing before. I waited till everyone left and jumped in one and put the lid on and just lay there and just went, I know what this is all about, and from that day on I've been fine. I encourage my staff to jump in one and have a little lie down on one, you know. I think it just makes it a whole lot easier. We get so many cool letters back from families that have experienced our caskets and what a difference it made to the funeral, and how they could look at the actual casket and go, that was my dad or that was mum or whatever, you know. I think it just takes that edge off, and somewhere along the line I think it helps our grieving process. Probably the Donut Casket is the wildest one we made, and that was for my cousin. Unfortunately he died about a year ago, and he was a connoisseur of cream donuts. He pulled me aside probably a month before he died and went, I want to get buried in a donut. So I came back home, and because he was in Tauranga, and came back home and started working on his casket, and yeah, I made him a cream donut. The Lego Casket behind me, that was done for a young girl who had MS, and in the latter part of her life all she could do was build Lego. Her hands were the only part that were really working properly. And we actually made her casket for her, and she had it for about 6 months prior to her dying. But when she did finally pass away, they put her in it and filled it to the top with the Lego. Wow. You know, which is, you know, that's pretty personalised.
That's amazing, that's amazing. What gets you out of bed in the morning?
This. Colour. I was lucky enough to say to a guy the other day, I've never worked a day in my life. You know, this is my passion. I love getting a brand and exposing it on the street, and the bonus out of it is when a client comes back to us and goes, wow, you made a difference to my business, you know. That's what gets me out of bed. I love that sort of stuff. Colour is my fuse. We're going to go for a ride? Usually when I go and deliver a casket, it's just her and I. Yeah. And quite often she slides through the back window when I drop the casket off, and she just slides around the back, you know. Look at that beautiful city. I guess my core value is the difference that I can make to a family at a time of grieving. You know, when we first started, we have a catalogue which we have about 70 or 80 different designs in, and everybody picked out of those. I would say that nowadays it's probably 50-50 with people coming to us going, I want a personalised casket because this is what my mum was about, or this is what my dad was about, or my husband loved this and this was his favourite bike and his favourite boat. And we're noticing a real swing from not wanting something out to the brochure to something that is really personalised to the actual person. And I think that's fantastic because no two of us are the same. We're all unique, and we all have our own passions and our own things to push our buttons, and why not live that right to the very end? So our caskets are made from MDF. So MDF is a product which is made from all the bark and the sawdust and the offcuts of timber that is produced to build houses and things. And as we're printing with our inks, which are latex based, which are water based inks, so there's no solvents, and the vinyls that we use on the caskets are actually green rated, so they have got no PVCs in them. To me, keeping it in the family is what it's all about. I'm sure if everybody didn't shop online and buy offshore and put all that money into this country, we'd be a really wealthy little bunch of people. I don't know where it's going to go, but I think more and more people are warming to the idea of actually celebrating the end of a person's life rather than grieving it. Because I guess the older you get, the more you understand every day you're getting closer to it. And as I say, I don't want to go out in a brown box. My life's been a bit too more colourful than that.